Hey guys, this is Champion Marks here. If you hate Thunderous as much as I do, leave a thumbs up. Anyway, this was a UU battle I had not that long ago with a guy whose name was Wrath19001, I think were the numbers, but anyway, his link in the description, so let's get this battle started. So, anyway, he leads off with a Rotom Heat Form, and I was thinking he'd do that, predicting my lead off with Fearow Seed, but I was thinking maybe he'd predict something else, but whatever. I just lead off with my Fearow Seed, because it is the best thing to do, and most Rotom Heat Forms are choiced, so I just go for the Protect to see what he's going to try and do. He does go for the trick to attempt to get rid of my Evilite and give me Choice Specs, Scarf, whatever he has. And now, I know he's locked into that trick, so I decide to go into my Scarf for Purple Kezoe. Yeah, that's right, Kezoe, you have not been forgotten. But anyway, he goes for the trick, and, you know, he gets a choice item for my choice item, but he gets the choice Scarf that I have, and gives me a choice Specs. So now he's faster, which is not the best thing ever, but I can deal with it. I don't really want to switch to anything to take the possible electric move, though I probably should have switched into Flygon there to be immune to it so I could get off a free hit, but I just decided to stay in like a dope for some reason. But I just guess I kind of wanted to get off that Specs Tri-Attack on whatever he decided to bring in. And he decides to bring in his Donphan, and looking at that, I probably should have went for the Air Slash, because looking at his team preview, it didn't really have anything that would resist it. And if I'd gotten a flinch on something that he'd brought in and 2-hit KO'd, it would have been pretty good. That does a crap ton to his Donphan, but I was actually expecting it to bring it down to Sturdy, considering a max special attack with the choice specs right now, but that aside, I just decided to switch out, go back to my Fearow Seed, Prick Jr., because I know Donphan can't do crap all to me, because it's a Donphan, and unless it's one of those random offensive sets that's carrying the Fire Fang, I'm pretty safe to stay in on it. But, yeah. He just gets his leftovers, and I want to go for my Stealth Rocks here, because having my Stealth Rocks up is going to be essential if I'm going to get rid of that Rotom Heat Form, which is a pretty big threat to my team, because aside from Flygon, I don't really have anything to checkmate it with. But anyway, I go for those Stealth Rocks to try and get them up, because, you know, they're the most important thing in the game. He just gets some leftovers, and here I'm going to go for Elite Seed so I can try and get some HP back from Donphan, because Donphan does have a lot of HP. He decides to go for Rapid Spin to get rid of my Stealth Rocks, but it really doesn't help him. It helps me more, because he just gets hurt by Iron Barbs, and I can set those Stealth Rocks back up pretty easily. But anyway, I get the Leech Seed on him, which is good, because that means that Fearow Seed and anything else that comes in on this Donphan, well, it still has Leech Seed, it's going to be getting some health back. But, yeah, here, predicting he's just going to go for another Rapid Spin. I go for another Stealth Rock. Maybe he's going to try and do something else, switch out, I don't know, so I can get my Stealth Rocks back up. But, anyway, I do get my Stealth Rocks up, and here I'm actually faster, so I'm like, okay, he went for a phasing move, and it turns out he did. He went for a Roar, which don't really know why he did that, because he could have went for Rapid Spin to get rid of my Leech Seed, because Rapid Spin actually does get rid of Leech Seed. Really, like, no one knows that, but it does. Anyway, he roars me into my Suicune, which I can go for the Scald to try and kill this thing, but for some reason I just don't want to, because, I don't know, he could do something that would make something happen, but whatever. For some reason, I just don't feel like killing him with the Scalds, which is really weird, so I decide to switch out, and I go into my spin blocker for this team, because, yes, this team does like to have a lot of entry hazards up, so, of course I have a spin blocker, which is Spiritomb. And Spiritomb's just gonna sit in here and be like, yeah, what are you gonna do? And he goes for the Rapid Spin, like I predicted as I get up my pressure, but anyway. He does go for the Rapid Spin, it's normal attack, so I am immune to it. And I believe here I just decided to go for the Sucker Punch to get rid of him, or something like on the lines of that. But I believe that is what I do, because he's probably just going to go for either an Earthquake or try and phase me out with another Roar. If he does that, it's really not a big deal, because like, Roar's really not going to do anything, because unless he switches me into my Togekiss, it's really not going to hurt any of my Pokemon at all. But anyway, I go for the Sucker Punch. It fails, because instead of going for Earthquake, it just decides to go for another Roar to try and, I don't know, maybe switch me into my Togekiss. But it just switches me back out to my Suicune, and this time I decide to not be an idiot and just go straight out for the Scald to try and get rid of this guy, because his Donphan really doesn't need to live anymore, because I can just get rid of it with pretty much anything. So yeah, and more leftovers happens, and I think I get some more Leech Seed to bring me back up to full. But yeah, whatever. So here I do indeed go for the Scald, being smart, trying to get rid of Donphan. Oh man, there are a lot of after-turn effects, but anyway. Scald, that happens, Donphan's dead. Anyway, that's pretty much the story, bro. But here, he brings in his Milotic, I believe, to try and, I don't know, wall my... No, wait, he brings in his Rotom. Duh. Why wouldn't he? So yeah, he goes into his Rotom, and here I'm thinking, it's got Volt Switch, more than likely Overheat because it's Rotom Heat. Maybe some Hidden Power and Trick. I just decided to go into my Flygon in case he decides to trick me for some random reason. I'll have a Scarfed Flygon instead of Togekiss, but he goes for Hidden Power, and he missaved it because it was supposed to be Hidden Power Grass, but it's actually Hidden Power Electric, and I'm just like, lol, 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 lol in your face. Haha. But anyway, he switches into his Milotic to try and take the hit, but I was thinking he'd go for, like, a switch into his Durant, which I saw from the team preview, to try and take my Outrage, so I went for the Fire Blast, which does basically nothing to Milotic, because Special Defense Bulky Beast, and more importantly, it's a Water type, so it resists it. Now, I decide just to go into my Suicune to try and wall this thing for reasons, because water versus water, you know, and I can just roar it out into something else, and, you know, stuff will happen. But anyway, I do go into my Suicune. He's just going to go for the Scald to try and get the burn, and because it's on my Suicune, it doesn't do anything, and even if he did get the burn, which thankfully he doesn't, it wouldn't matter, because Suicune has only one attack, and it's a special move, plus it has Rest, so, you know, it can just get rid of that burn whenever the hell it freaking wants. But here, I'm just going to stay in, try and get this Milotic out of here, so I have some, you know, some Pokemon that I can actually work around more easily on the field, and ugh, jeez. Why do I always burp at least once in my videos, but whatever. I just go for the Roar, because I really have nothing that can switch in safely to potential burn from Milotic, but whatever. Roar it out, goes into Durant. Probably should have went for the Scald, because with Durant's pitiful special defense, it more than likely would have killed, and even if he didn't, it probably could have gotten the burn on him, so that I could, you know, do stuff to him. But anyway, he just goes for a Hone Claws, and for me being stupid, for some reason, I just decide to go for a Roar to try and get rid of this Durant, because I don't want it Hone Clawsing up on me. Because Hustle, Hone Claws, Durant is really, really scary. It roars him out into his Rotom, which could have gotten something better roared out, but, you know, Rotom works because it gets hurt by tough stealth rocks. But anyway, here I just decide to switch out, go back into my Flygon, whose name I met a Flygon after my, you know, one of my friends. But anyway, I'm gonna, you know, take that Volt Switch because Ground type, and he's gonna have to, you know, switch out for something. And I'm thinking, because I probably would go for Outrage, he's not gonna switch into his Flygon, so I'm just gonna decide to go for the Earthquake. See how much it'll do to his incoming Milotic. Because, you know, Milotic is pretty frail in special defense, actually, even though it is a wall, and plus it doesn't have Marvel Scale up, so, you know, I can probably 2-hit KO it. But for some stupid reason, I'm thinking he's going to switch into his own Flygon to resist the Earthquake, and because a lot of Flygons normally were Scarfed back in 4th gen, I'm thinking I don't want that to happen, so I just go for the Outrage to, you know, overkill, which probably wasn't smart. Should have just went for the Earthquake, even if he did bring in his Flygon. Could have switched into a wall, but whatever. Hindsight, you know, it's 2020, like everyone says nowadays, but anyway. he just switches in his Durant, which is what I was afraid that he'd do now, but since I'm locked in Outrage, I really can't do jack shit about it. His Durant is not defensive, because no Durant ever is, so I'm not that worried about it, you know, actually being able to take the Outrage well, but it is a Steel type, and surprisingly has a really high defense stat, but it is a Steel type, and Steel types actually do, like, high defense stats for Steels is almost standard. It does a big chunk, though, more than half, I think, and I'm more than certain that this thing is going to be Life Orb, because it's Durant. It's probably going to be Life Orb, because, you know, Sweeper. He goes for the X-Scissor, kills my Flygon, because there's no way I would have ever survived Hone Claw's Hustle-boosted X-Scissor. He gets some Life Orb damage, which is good, because that means that it would be a lot easier to kill him. I just go into my Spiritomb, because I'm, like, he's got a Hone Claws up, and I'm considering Spiritomb could have Will-O-Wisp, he's not going to be greedy and try and go for another Hone Claws, so I'm just going to go for the Sucker Punch to try and kill him off. And if it doesn't, Life Orb will, but it doesn't kill him off, but like I said, Life Orb will. Unfortunately, I do lose my Spiritomb, but, you know, Spiritomb did its job. You know, just getting that small amount of damage on Durant so it can die. And Durant's now out of the way, which is good, because it probably could have swept my team if I didn't deal with it, but anyway. Now I believe he switches back into his Rotom, because, you know, Smogon says in a double down, go back to your lead. And I decide to do the same, because even if he does bring back in his Rotom, I can just, you know, Protect to see what he's going to use, and then switch to a Pokemon that can take it on accordingly. I do go for the Protect. I believe he goes for Trick or Volt Switch here. I believe it is Volt Switch. Yeah, it's Volt Switch. I'm thinking, okay, that really doesn't matter, because even if he gets a crit, it's not going to do a whole lot with Volt Switch to Fearoseed, because Eviolite Fearoseed, it's got massive defense in both, and now he's just going to switch out. I can get a Leech Seed on him. He gets a crit, doesn't matter, because it doesn't do all that much, even with the crit. He decides to switch in his Flygon here. I go for a Leech Seed to get some health back from whatever he decides to go into, which is Flygon. And right here I'm thinking, okay, what can Flygon do to me? It can Earthquake, it can probably have Fire Punch. So I'm thinking, well, shit, I don't want to stay in on this guy, because if he has Fire Punch, I'm going to die. And Prick Jr. is probably going to be an important part of this match, because, you know, it can wall most of his Pokemon. So I decide to switch into Suicune, so I can, you know, take the Fire Punch or Earthquake or whatever. But he decides to, you know, go for the U-turn, because, yeah, Flygons carry U-turn, even though I forgot that, because I really don't like U-turn for whatever reason. But anyway, yeah, U-turn, and he's going to switch back out to his Rotom, because it is the one thing he has that can threaten my Suicune with double switch. And here I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to switch? Wait, Flygon's dead. I can't switch back into that. What do I want to do? I'm just going to go in my Togekiss, because it still has the choice item, so if he goes for Trick, it's not really going to matter. And if he goes for the Volt Switch, Togekiss can be Death Fodder, and Rotom will just come back in and die to Stealth Rocks anyway. So I go into Togekiss. Unfortunately, it's going to die because he goes for Volt Switch. And, yeah, I had no chance of living that. But, thankfully, you know, Rotom will die on the income because it has, like, 1 HP left, thanks to all that Stealth Rock damage. So, now I believe it's, what is it, 3-2, no, 3-3, because Rotom still technically is alive. He goes into his Flygon, because Flygon is, you know, the most powerful thing he probably has for doing damage. And I just decided to switch into Suicune, because it's the best thing I have to hit this Flygon with, because it is, well, not the best thing I have to hit it with, but the best thing I have to take a hit from it, because, you know, defense bulky Suicune. Goes to the Outrage. I'm hoping that I can get a burn on it with Scald, because that would completely cripple this Flygon and make this getting rid of it so much easier. I live the Outrage pretty well. I go for the Scald, and it doesn't get the burn, but that really doesn't matter, because I do still have Fearoseed to take this guy on, and Judging from the damage that that outrage did, I'm pretty sure that this guy is choice banded, not choice scarfed. He could be scarfed, but I know he's choiced in some way at least. So I can just bring in Fearow Seed, get Leech Seed on this guy. If he stays in, I'll get Leech Seed on whatever he brings in. If he doesn't stay in, then wait. If he, well, I have no idea what I'm saying right now. If he stays in, Leech Seed. If he doesn't, something's gonna get Leech Seed on it. He goes for the Outrage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's banded from that because this is max defense Fearow Seed with Evil Light. That would have done a lot less if he wasn't banded. I just go for Leech Seed. He's confused now, which is good, because that means he has a chance to hit himself, which means I won't have to take any unnecessary damage. I get my Leech Seed back, which is good, because now this Flygon's basically got a limited amount of time to live unless he decides to switch out and save it for whatever reason. I go for the Protect, because I really don't want to take another Outrage, because with the damage it did last time, it's not going to be good. But he does, yeah, I do go for the Protect. He just goes for Outrage again, try and get more damage. It doesn't work because I protected and I just get more Leech Seed on him and stuff. Here I decide to play a risky move and try and go for the double Protect. Thankfully it does work, so I get the KO on his Flygon without actually having to take any damage. And for Fearow Seed, since its only recovery is Leech Seed, that is really nice. Now it's 2-2 now. All he's got left is Rotom, which is almost dead, and I believe a Mew. That Mew kind of scares me because Mew has the ability to carry pretty much every move in the game, so you have no idea what it's able to do unless you actually let it do something. So I just decided to go for Leech Seed, because Leech Seed is really all Fearow Seed can do to it. I see it go for Calm Mind, so I'm like, okay, Calm Mindset, that's okay. It's not a nasty plot, so it's not going to be as scary. I just, yeah, get the Leech Seed on it. It's going to be good, because if this thing is max HP, I'm going to be getting back a shit ton of health. And if it's not max HP, well, I may still have something to worry about, because it could have, you know, the mega awesome bolt beam stuff, flamethrower maybe, and I don't know what else. But yeah, I'm just getting my health back. He's gonna go for more Calm Minds, and that's basically saying that this guy might be a bulkier variant, and I just go for Gyro Ball to see how much it'll do. If it does a good chunk, it's offensive. If it doesn't, then it's defensive. Go for the Gyro Ball, and it does crap all, so that means it's defensive. And basically, the rest of the match is my Prick Jr. and my Deoxys attempting to stall out this Mew until it dies, so yeah, I really don't want to narrate all that boringness, and yeah, so I'm just going to let the music finish this off. But anyway, comment, rate, sub, and see you later, guys.